The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
What up, now? I guess we back like we never left because we was just on and we just had put all those different snippets of the show out. And thanks for all the comments and stuff that we got. We appreciate you guys. But how you feeling tonight, Big Ragu?
It's what is this? 10 o'clock East Coast, 7 on the West. So I'm doing good, man. Still here, getting to see my favorite guy on screen with me. So it's always a good time to hang with you. How you making out?
I'm doing good, man. Like you said, 7 o'clock out here, and I'm ready to wind down myself. So for you and for the people out there, we're going to make this real nice and sweet, and we're going to glide through this and give y'all some more of that good information that we gave last time. Thanks for those comments, man. We led a couple people to some bets and stuff, so I appreciate all that. But shoot, man, let's get rocking and rolling. Let's get into this first team right here. And today we are doing the Big Ten football. We're going to start out on the, what is this, the Big Ten West. Yeah, we're going to start out on the Big Ten West, and then we're going to go over to the East. But first up. Michigan Wolverines, here we are. Right here, y'all know the story from last year, 13-1, 9-0, lost, in the playoffs, good run. 9th year for Harbaugh right here. He's 74-25 here at Michigan, 45-8 at home, 25-11 away. He's returning 8 beautiful, great players from last year on offense and 7 on defense. And he had a few transfers, but to the minimum this year. I'm kind of impressed at this point. I mean, it's been a long day coming for Michigan to get back up in the seat right here in the Big Ten. So I'm proud of Harbaugh to where he's gotten right now. But, one bad season could lose it all over here in the Big Ten as they elevate where they're going. What do you think about Harbaugh coming back in his 9th year, Big Ragu?
Well, I think he's finally turned the corner. They were starting to get a little impatient with him. The last 2 years, they're the Big Ten champs, right? So, and the key game, of course, is always beat Ohio State, right? So they've done that the last 2 years, 42-27 last year, 42-27 and 21 and 45-23. So 2 similar scores, 2 similar game plans, it looks like. But I think he gets more of the same this year. He's got J.J. McCarthy's coming back. He had a good season last year, 22 touchdowns, 5 ANTs, and they get senior running back Blake Cornback. He's a Heisman type candidate. He's got solid numbers. Just a little south of 6 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns. Solid all the way around on the offense. And these guys are scoring almost 40 points a game. So they got the offense rolling. And Big Ten. We talk about Big Ten defenses early in the season. Those of you who've followed us and seen us on shows, we always know that the Big Ten represents like 5 out of the top 10 defenses early on, mid-season. A lot of those numbers get skewed because of the cupcake games. But overall, throughout the season, this team averaged like 16 points a game on defense, number 5 in yardage, overall. So, the only thing that they haven't done well is continue on in the postseason, and Harbaugh hasn't had a lot of those opportunities, but 1-6 the last 7 and 0-5 his last 5 bowl games. So I guess they want a little bit of retribution on slate for this team going forward.
Yep. Like they say, you got to get over the hump. Now, this year they acquired a few coaching changes. They promoted the co-OC to the long OC with Sharon Moore. And on the defensive side of things, they added a co-DC, Steve Clinkscale, along with Jesse Mender. And, of course, the coach's son over there as special teams coach. But the offense looks wonderful this year. JJ McCarthy's back. He's groomed enough to get another chance, like Big Ragu talked about. Blake Corum is back coming from injury, and of course the O-line is back. So any more improvements on the offense could lead these guys a little bit further. I think that they just have a little bit of problem getting the ball deep downfield. I think this year with the maturity of McCarthy and some of the people they brought in the receiving staff and the development of the running game, going to allow them to make some of those further throws as we go on. Any other notes to the offense, Big Ragu?
No, just like I say, more of the same there. You know, if their offensive numbers stay intact, which I think they should, and you know the defense is pretty much be similar. You know, just getting over the hump in the postseason. You know, of course, they always got the big game with Ohio State late in the season, but you know there might be. I think the Big 12 or the Big 10. You know, a lot of coaching changes. You know, we know about two. You know, with Matt Rule coming in, and then of course, who else have we got coming in? Matt Rule was the other one, and Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. So you know, it's starting to get crowded at the top. You know, some big name coaches are coming. You know, to the Big 10, and that's just all part of the realignment process. So you know, I think things are good, but things have been moving forward for Michigan for a little bit now. So I think they stay on track.
Yeah. Hey, and shout out to the teams in the Big 10 bringing in those coaches. You know, it's real. If you really look at it from a big far picture, some nice coaches in the Big 10. So they're getting prepared for what they're going to move into further. Returning 7 on defense. There's stuff out there saying this defense could be a little better than last year's defense. I know that the Big 10's been signing up and on the defensive line. So these guys out here like Chris Jenkins, they're huge and they get the job done at a high rate. So defense is one of the things they do over here in the Big 10. So I think they on track to have a top 5 defense at Michigan this year. Last year they didn't do bad. You know, number 6 in points per game, number 5 against the run, and number 18 to get the pass. Same coach coming back for another dose of it. I mean, he's a coordinator, so I think it's going to be great right there.
Yeah.
And let's roll into the final synopsis right here. Considering the schedule, I only see 2 real potential spots that could be tough for him, and that's going to be in the Michigan State game and the Penn State at Michigan State, at Penn State, and the last game in Ohio State. So 10-5 is kind of high. I wouldn't suggest taking a season total so high, but if I had to do it, I guess I'm gonna have to saddle up and take the over 10.5. Yeah. What about you, Big Ragu?
Yeah, I see him winning like 11 games. There's a possibility they can win 10, you know, but that's right at the number, you know, that's right at the peak of the top, you know. One they could slip under, or they can go right over it, you know, or they can go 12-0, you know what I mean? But 10.5 is probably a fair number for them.
Yeah, so let's keep it rolling, man. We're gonna keep on. We don't want to waste nobody's time today, so we're gonna keep it rolling. We're gonna jump on over to the next team right here. That's a nice new car you got right there.
I like that, man. Put that in my garage.
Jumping over here to Ohio State, Ryan Day, man. Many people try to say, "Oh, it's make or break for Ryan Day." He lost to Michigan twice, and I say, man, in his 6th year, hats off to Ryan Day, man. He picked up what they had and kept it going at a high rate. Losing those 2 years is no big deal. He still, I mean, no way he should be reaching the hot seat. I see a good 10+ years here at Ohio State for Ryan. He does a great job as well. Let's see here. His record is 45-6, 25-2 at home, 15-1 away. How could you get rid of a guy like that, man? He's returning 7 on offense, 7 on defense. He brings in 9 transfers. I mean, he's keeping it up to date and going. This talk about Ryan Day being on the hot seat kind of bothers me. Did you hear that, Big Ragu?
Yeah, I mean that's nonsense in my book. You know, like I know he was like you said, he kind of stepped right in that role, with the change a few years back, and then he's kind of picked the program up and kind of carried on his back, if you ask me. But one thing different this year for him is that this name might sound familiar to a lot of guys that follow NFL and stuff. And he's an alumni, and he played with the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. He's been promoted from the wide receivers coach up to the OC, Brian Hartline. He's gonna be making the play call, so he's gonna take that off his plate. So that might help alleviate some of the I don't know, some of the restlessness. But heck, with the talent that this team has had year in, year out, especially in the quarterback position, the wide receiver position, running back position. I mean, it's been one of the most prolific offenses in college football for years. So, I mean, I think this year maybe a little bit less, but I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, speaking of that offense, man, we got a new quarterback replacing C.J. Stroud. So we can't really look at last year's rankings and move it forward, especially when you talk about passing because you're changing coaches. You're changing quarterbacks and points per game, stuff like that. But Kyle McCord, you got to believe, if the team feels enough to put him there, it's a reason that he's there. So no saying that he's a bum or this, that, and the other. But I believe this year they're going to step it up on the running game to give that passing game some time to develop, in these big games where they blow these teams out, gives them a lot of practice to get it all primed in for the good teams. And then he got a huge target out there, Cade Stover at tight end, which beginning quarterbacks, always good to have a good tight end to throw the little pop pass, so you don't have to be relying on your arm or relying on this. So he gets the best of the best. So they could contend at a high rate. I don't see it as a down season at all. I just see it as a season where you're going to have to see what Ryan Day does as a coach to continue to do things. And that's what he's been doing the whole time, is continue to pick up the pieces and move forward. So I got a good aspects for the offense too. You got anything else on the offense, Big Ragu?
Yeah. Let's talk about McCord a little bit. So he's got a small sample size. He played in 7 games last year behind Stroud. He's got 20 attempts, 16 completions, 80%, 190 yards, 9.5. His average, 9.5 yards per average and 1 touchdown. So his quarterback rating is like 174. Real small sample size. But, comparing that to Stroud longer term, Stroud's numbers were like 9.5 and 176. So he's right there as far as the numbers go. And then he's got Marvin Harrison Jr., first team offense, and Emeka Mbuka, first team offense too. So he's got some weaponry there to throw downfield also, along with, like you said, Cade Stover. So, yeah, I like that look for him there going forward. And I'm sure he's going to have some backs. They always have decent running backs to support the pass.
Yeah, I believe that the offense is going to be okay through this one. But I think the defense might have a chance to get better in this situation right here. Second year DC Jim Knowles, we see a lot of success in the second year once everything is inputted, things can dial in. They did a good job last year, but there were some key moments there where they needed some stops in some big games, which they didn't quite walk away with. And being the second year, kids getting used to the system, that's just exactly what it takes to get over that hump. So they definitely got a fair fight for the number 1 position in the Big Ten with Michigan.
Yeah, they do. I mean, defensively, they were ranked 6th in conference. They were ranked 12th nationally. I mean, you go back, and they were ranked like 17th in points. But if you go back to the Georgia game where they lost by 1 point, I mean, are we going to start having this conversation now like we do every year about the 2 SEC teams going to the playoff? Are we going to be talking about 2 Big Ten teams every year going to the playoffs? So, I mean, either way you look at it, like these teams have risen up, and I think they're here to stay. But what's going to happen in a couple of years, we'll see the same thing. But as of right now, they're 1-2 in my book in the Big 12.
Absolutely. I don't think too many people would disagree with that. But let's move into the season wins right here. Another 10.5 for Ohio State. I definitely think it's possible. They're going to have the toughest games is Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and Michigan. I don't know if Notre Dame could be that tough of a game, but it's just the atmosphere and all of that stuff. But they playing against, an ex-player. I guess it'll be a little intense in the Notre Dame game. So chance to win, lose maybe I say 2 at the most of those. So we teetering right on the edge again with the 11-win season. So 11-1 is probably what I would give it, but maybe 10-2, who knows? But I think that, like I said, as far as the offense is concerned, it'll take some time to get together. The defense, they should play up a little bit, and if they can play for 4 quarters in every game and make those big plays better this year, then we could be looking at the champ right here.
Yeah, well, they got the revenge on their mind with Michigan, and then they do get Penn State at home, which is usually a tough out for them in Happy Valley. But they seem to manage when they go over there too. But those are probably the 2 spots. We'll see how tricky Wisconsin, how they come along early on too with Lou Fickell's group. That's going to be an interesting look later on.
Yeah. Wisconsin's.
I'm right there with you. 11-1. I'm saying, 1-loss season, maybe run the table possibly. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe run the table. I agree with that too. So let's keep it moving, man. We're gonna keep it moving for y'all. So we're gonna go to the next one. Number 3 spot over here in the Big Ten East. Penn State and James Franklin. Now, this year you definitely can't tap this Penn State team out. They did lose to, I think, Michigan and Ohio State last year, but it's the opportunity to get to play them again. I think this year they might be able to take down one, maybe not both, but they might be able to take down one, and that could lead them somewhere nice, possibly, depending on what happened in the Big Ten championship. Who knows? But he was turning 8 on offense, 8 on defense, 5 transfers this year. He was 11-2 last year, 7-2 in the conference. And I don't know, James Franklin has been doing a great job with this Penn State, rebuilding it. I think when they have to go play Ohio State at home, they might lose. But when they go play Michigan on the road, maybe they come away with a win. What you think, Big Ragu?
Yeah, this is going to be one thing that Penn State does well is they protect their house. Under Franklin, I think he's 78-36 overall, but at the house, he's 48-13. And I'm going to talk gambling a little bit here too, because we are a gambling. We do talk spreads here, right? So 38-21 ATS and 3, 38-21 3, winning record at home. And off a loss, this is where you got to fade them. They're 10-23 ATS. Off a loss, so remember that going forward. But we'll bring that up during the season. But it's really this team is really good. Are they Ohio State, Michigan good? Maybe, but they could be a dark horse for sure. 8, like you said. What did you just say? The starters, they got 8 on offense, 8 on defense coming back, right?
Yeah.
But interesting enough, they lose Sean Clifford, who's their all-time win leader for them. He's an all-time W's. And they get Drew Allar. Now, he's only got 10 games under his belt. There's a ton of buzz around this kid at quarterback. So he's going to have to make it happen for him. And he is listed, and I didn't know this. I looked this up today. He's listed number 7 in the Heisman category, down the line. He's in good company with Kyle McCord at OSU, Joe Milton, who's the transfer from Michigan to Tennessee, and Jaden Daniels at LSU. They're all like plus 1,700 for the Heisman Trophy. So he's listed as an outside dark horse for a Heisman candidate.
Well, where I think they're really going to get their money this year is on the ground with Nicholas Singleton and the rest of the running back crew that they have over there, and this great offensive line that they have there as well. So I think they're going to eat on the ground and open up the pass just traditionally as Penn State would. They're a hard-nosed team. They play teams tough, like you said, especially at home. So I like everything that they got going on over in the office this year. It may be what they need. Only thing that I could probably, sprinkle a little hate on their game is I don't know if they're all the way up size appropriate to the Big Ten, because Big Ten players are moving to SEC size players, and mostly Penn State players still look like Big Ten players. So other than that slight difference, I think as far as their game is definitely escalating.
Yeah, well, I mean, they brought in Manny Diaz last year on the defensive side, which I think that paid
Yes.
dividends. And then they used to be in the old Paterno days, they were known as linebacker U, but they do have an outside linebacker, Abdul Carter. He had a team high 6.5 sacks, 10.5 tackles for loss, and they got a sophomore to watch out. His name's Curtis Jacobs, who was going to go in the NFL draft as a sophomore, but decided to come back and play this year.
And there you go, right there. And they had a beautiful season last year. Points per game, ranked number 9. Against the run, ranked 16, and against the pass, ranked 36. And this year gives them a little chance to tighten up on the pass. And that's why I say that their numbers got them right up there. They shouldn't even be a dark horse at the number 3 spot. Like, they're an absolute contender in the Big Ten. I think tradition is holding them back at this point. But I think James Franklin, at some point, he'll get it right over here.
He's going to break through, yeah. I mean, they haven't had a Big Ten title since 2016. So, I mean, could this be the year? Who knows? But I wouldn't count them out. I wouldn't count them out completely.
I wouldn't count them out at all. So, as far as the win totals go, season wins over 9.5, and that's right there too. But I think they could solidly get a 10-win season if everybody stays healthy and everything works out with the quarterback situation.
Yeah. If they beat Michigan at home, they'll get to 10 wins.
Yeah, but they do have to see Iowa, Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State this year. So they got their work cut out of them, but I think they're going to be a tad bit stronger than last year. So maybe they're complete better than Michigan State. Maybe they can run with Iowa State any day because of what they lack on offense. So their only 2 problems is Ohio State and Michigan, and I think they get one of those. So it's going to be 10-win season. I like the over 9.5.
Yeah, I like that too. I think they'll snake an extra victory out there and get over the hump. 10 wins.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep it rolling, man. Down further in this side of the Big Ten, tough competition so far. I mean, we're 3 teams in. Now we're on to the 4th. This one's a little surprising to be in the 4th spot, but they definitely belong there. Maryland, Mike Locksley, 5th year right here. Returning 5 on offense, 6 on defense, brings in 9 transfers. Now, he was 8-5 last year, 4-5 in the conference. Here he falls in the number 4 spot in the Big Ten East this year. And it makes you wonder why. I mean, his record is 21-28. He's below 500. He's 500 at home. He's 7-5. But guess what? He may be on the hot seat right here. And that may be what might light his fire right here.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher for me too. But, I guess they really like the guy, and what he stands for. So you can't hate on everybody. Certain schools are a little more patient than others, and Maryland's one of those middle tier schools in the Big Ten, so they know the coaching carousel. They know he's probably a quality guy, and they're going to give him a shot, to kind of get things worked out. Like you said, 21-28, and from a gambling standpoint, if you go back and look at his numbers, I mean, in every category, home splits, road splits, they're all losers. So I would stay far, far away from this team from a gambling perspective. Now they are 2-0 in the bowl straight up, and when you want to bet on them is when they play non-conference. They're like 9-2 ATS. So probably early in the season is when you want to get on them. Of course, offensively now they're going back to Tagovailoa here. This is 4th season as a Terrapin. I think he had his best season in 21 where he had 3,800 yards, 26 TDs, 11 INTs. But last year he threw for 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. So he's averaging 8 yards per attempt, 52 touchdowns, 26 INTs for Tua. So, but they lose both their running backs, who combined for 1,700 plus yards. And I guess they're going to lean on Roman Hemby is their guy, the junior running back. He had solid numbers, just under like 6 yards per carry. So they're going to have to balance the offense a little bit here for them to succeed on the offensive side of my book.
Well, I guess all the hype is Tua in the senior year, and also new offensive coordinator Josh Gaddish from Michigan.
Oh, yeah,
He's at
that's
Michigan in 2021. So maybe that's where all the hype comes in. I'm not sure, but I'll take it right there. But I don't see much other than Tua that could be a big threat. I mean, he brings in a bunch of transfers.
Yeah, they got
to
some
cover
trash.
up a bunch of spots. The offensive line is not the best. It's got a couple guys from last year, and then it goes right over into a bunch of transfers. So I don't see, like I said, I don't see what the hype is. I agree with you, Big Ragu. This team we want to stay away from definitely until further notice. But last year they did do okay on defense, coming in 34 at points per game, 37 against the run, and 51 against the pass. So I mean, if they're gonna make progress over there, they promoted the co-DC to full DC and Brian Williams. So I don't know. There's a lot to see here. There's some small possibilities in there that we could see something different, but it's kind of leaning. The overall record leans towards it may start off high and end up flat. I don't know.
Yeah, they're one of these teams that just kind of like a step below. But then again, they did finish off on a positive note. They had a 8-win season. They beat NC State in the bowl, and they did crack into the AP top 25 last season at one point. So we'll see how they go. Like we see with these Big Ten teams early on, they get a lot of W's. A lot of teams look good, and then the reality sets in for about half of them after about game 4 or 5. But I'm not hating on them. Just like you said, the track record of the coach, just wins and losses, that tells a story.
Absolutely. Now, as far as the season wins in this one, even the books know it's down to 7 right here, which gives it a wobbler as well. But they tough games are at Michigan State, at Ohio State, at Nebraska, and also versus Michigan. So you can, out of those, what is that, 4 right there, you could count 2 of them as losses. So maybe if they go 2-2 out of that, they may supersede the 7. But if they don't make it but 3-1 out of that right there, then they'll definitely fall at 7 or under 7. So I mean, it's not worth it to risk it in the future that with a team that you don't know much of. If any of y'all out there got some more inside information or something, let us know so we can jump on it early.
Yeah. I see a lot of those games, about half of them are winnable, for them. But to break everyone down, I say the first 2 you got to put in the books for them, and then I'll call it hopscotch after that. They're going to play out of conference with Virginia, first 3 games. Indiana, they could possibly beat. Indiana's going to be down. They'll probably get beat by Ohio State, Illinois. Northwestern, they could beat. Penn State, they lose. Nebraska, possibly they could beat, and they should beat Rutgers. So it'd be close. It'd be real close.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go into the next team. Now, this team has big question marks as well. We'll talk about it in a few. Michigan State and Mel Tucker in his 4th year. I'm usually high on 4th-year coaches, but I don't think Mel Tucker's really been hitting the bar. I mean, he shows some toughness at times. He's played some good big games, but overall, I mean, he's 18-14 overall, 11-6 at home, 6-8 away. He's returning 6 guys on offense, 7 guys on defense, and he brings in a whopping 17 transfers, which he's one of those guys that have been trying a lot of transfers. It worked for him 1 year, didn't work as much the next year. Who knows what he's going to get out of it this year, but the fact that he's bringing that many guys again in his 4th year, in today's day and age, his seat may be heating up. What you think, Big Ragu?
I got to give him a pass for last year because they got bit bad by the injury bug on both sides of the ball, and then um, some of his key players too at that. But I mean, now it's not going to be easier sledding for him this year too, because he had some guys transfer out, and the guy that he had wasn't a big number guy at QB. Now I think he's got Noah Kim as a fourth year junior taking the helm, and he's got real low numbers. He's got very limited numbers. 14 for 19, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 9 yards per attempt. That's it. So he's going to have to figure some things out on the offensive side. And even with the transfers, he's got a couple. Like you said, he hit the transfer portal pretty hard, trying to piecemeal his offense, and then and even his wide receiver, his key wide receiver, junior Keon Coleman, he jetted from them too. So I had them capped early on, and then I had to go back on a late update, and I said, "Well, something's going on over there. I'm not sure what it is, but I know you could be right. You could be right as far as that goes on the offense. But what do you think?"
Well, basically the only thing that rings a bell on the offense is they're returning 4 offensive linemen. In big time football, that helps a lot. Being able to establish a run kind of gives the coach time to think, can play charades as far as the clock management and stuff, and be able to win games when they don't necessarily have the talent to win. So, like you say, a lot of question marks at the QB. They're going to be running back by committee. They're going to be wide receiver by committee. And to jump over into the defense is not going to be that much greater either. You know what I'm saying? They do have a lot of depth, but they did lose a lot of people, like you said, transfers out and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
The secondary could take a step down from last year, and not to say they were the greatest, but it could get even worse. So it doesn't look good to me for Michigan State at all overall.
I think the O-line is good for them, though. Like you were saying, I just think maybe some of the key pieces, the position players, the specialty type players, is going to be tough. And then like I said, where they were where they go 3-6 in conference last year, 5-7 overall, so they had a 5-1 season. That's a little bit of a disappointment for a team like this. But I think they're better. I think they're better than they were on paper. Talent wise, they just kind of had a rough year last year. We'll see this year. I mean, it's not going to be any easier this year, especially with the teams above them.
Yeah, and they got some natural advantages too. Like, they're a cold weather team, so they thrive in those bad conditions. They got a bunch of factors that could win them some games in some spot. But overall, going over 5.5 this year, I would hope that they really would. But they got to go see Washington early. Washington's going to be a tough pass threat, so secondary could get exposed. They're going to have to come up with something on offense because they got to go to Iowa. They play Michigan. They got to go to Iowa State, and they play Penn State. So they don't get a favorable schedule as either. But I don't see them being a 4-win team. I think I can count 4 wins. Let's see. Central Michigan, Richmond, maybe Maryland.
And they got 4
Rutgers.
games. 4.
Yeah, I think I would be leaning more towards taking the over than taking the under with this. What do you think as far as the season wins for this team?
Yeah, I think if they get 3 out of those first 4, which would probably be tough, but they can, they'll be halfway home, and then they got a few road games that are going to be. I mean, Nebraska, they get home, that should be a winnable game for them possibly, and then at Indiana, that'll be a little bit tougher there. But yeah, they're going to be. I can see 6 wins at the max with these guys.
At the max, yeah, at the max. So, yeah, at the max, that makes it not worth it to risk it to me. So, stay away from Maryland. Stay away from Michigan State. If you're gonna take a win total in the Big Ten, go for which one of those top teams you think are gonna go undefeated. If you really feel Michigan can go 12-0, that's where you want to be. But let's jump into the next one.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick gambling note on him. Mel Tucker, 6-1 non-conference ATS, and he pretty much split everything else. So stay away. Anything outside of everything but non-conference, bet on them. Non-conference, everything else, stay away.
Yeah, I might have to take that in consideration in that first game because they play Central Michigan, which is kind of the in-state rivalry, and a lot of times I like to take the dog in the
There
in-state
you go.
rivalry. But I guess out of conference he does well, so they should outshine Central Michigan by far. So we'll see what the line is on that later on down the line. But let's go and hop in this wonderful looking sports car and take another ride. Going to the Far East, Rutgers. Greg's can how you say that name, Big Ragu? I know you can say it. Schiano.
Yeah.
Is that Italian?
That's as Italian as it gets.
Yeah, I figured that. So fourth year guy back here. Last year they went 4-8, 1-8 in the conference. He's 80-89 overall here. He's 44-45 here at home, 29-42 away. On offense, he's returning 6 on offense and 8 on defense, and he brings in 5 transfers. Now, being a small school like Rutgers, having a record at home like 44-45, I think that's not that bad, you know. So I think he'll be all right here. You know, he's a guy looking forward, and he got some tricks up his sleeve. What you think about your guy Greg?
Oh man, what's that? I mean, he's a defensive guy, totally. You know, when he was coaching the Bucks, you know, he had his struggles down in Tampa at the pro leagues, but then he, of course, he left Rutgers, then he came back to Rutgers after a stint in Tampa. So, but the thing is, you talk about hot seats. I mean, this guy's been here. He's 15 years overall, 4th year back. So, they love him up in Piscataway, up in Jersey. That's where he's at. So, and I just think, offensively, he's always had his struggles, but he's been one of these underdog type guys his whole career, and he's been like a motivator. Now, he did get a good hire, Kirk Shiroka from Penn State. He's going to be running the offense for him, but on the defensive side, that'll be all his call pretty much. But offensively, they were ranked 128th, dead last in Power 5. So they got a lot of work to do. Shiroka's got a lot of work to do there. So it's going to be a work in progress as usual, with him. And I think he's just there for the good feeling of the campus and the alumni like him there. So I think he's going to have to. He's probably going to under-deliver. He's probably going to under-deliver a little bit, but at the same time, they're going to expect that. So I feel bad for the Red Knights, but I still think they'll have some close games. From a gambling perspective, we're versus top 25 teams. Fade them 4-27 ATS.
Yeah, fade them. But I think this year they are showing some improvement. Like you said, bringing in the new OC along with Wimsat. That's a pretty good match right there if you look it up real good. And they're going to have an experience at the offensive line and running back position. So they may get a run thing going. And if somebody can emerge from the receiver's perspective and connect with the quarterback, maybe they can get an upset. I think they could go 1-11 and upset Michigan, Ohio State, and they'll be just fine with that.
That's it. That'll make their season. Where we at for the win total for these guys?
Let's jump into the win total. Over under 4. I mean, let's say out of conference they got Northwestern, Temple. Let's see, Virginia Tech. That would be a big game they would have to win. Wagner, that gives you 3 right there. I say Northwestern, Temple, and Wagner gives you 3, and that's if the offense continues to play on the high level, and the defense can keep the team offense from having to come back and forth. So, what else? I don't think none of the other ones they really got a chance. Wisconsin, Michigan State, Indiana, maybe Ohio State. If they can get an upset in the bottom half of the season and win Northwestern and Temple and Wagner, then they might get over 4. But I don't know. I it's not worth it to risk it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's tough. But the other stat I didn't give was as an away dog, they're like 32-19. So That's all dog situations. Away dogs and fade versus top 25. I think 4 is probably a good number. I'm gonna say this team's probably gonna win 3 games. I would lean
3
under.
games.
Yeah, I would lean
I would sort of lean under too, but it's possible. And now that I think about it, after I capped Northwestern, I don't think they can hang with Northwestern.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a loss. So maybe Temple, Wagner, and maybe one other lucky one. So yeah, under 4 sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
But let's jump into the last team on this side, the bottom of the bottom. It's Indiana with Tom Allen, 7th year right here, 4-8 last year, 2-7 in the conference. His record is 30-40, 17-18 at home, 12-19 away. He's returning 5 on offense, 3 on defense, and transferred 15. He has to know he's on the hot seat unless he got some inside connect, because how are you in your 7th year returning 5 on offense, 3 on defense? I mean, what did you dig out of the transfer portal to get 15 to want to come play at Indiana? You know, worth having. You know what I'm saying? You would have did better getting a team full of Juncos instead of trying to go to the transfer portal or something like that. So what do you think about this situation right here?
At my notes, I said a ton of question marks when you lose a Michael Penix Jr. and you get Connor Bazelak, right, from Missouri after Penix leaves, and then Bazelak goes off to Bowling Green. I mean, what's that telling you? Something, you know what I mean? So he's trying to put the pieces. The last 2 years, 6-7. I mean, 6-18. In 7 years, he's got 3 bowl appearances, 0-3 in those games. So he's definitely on the hot seat. So, but I mean, it's supposed to be his offensive coordinator, Walt Bell's, is supposed to be an air raid offense. So he's going to be working with a transfer from Tennessee, a true freshman quarterback, Taven Jackson. And then I guess they got another kid that was recruited by Army, Brandon Sorsby. He was recruited by Army, Navy, and Fordham University. So I mean, they're gonna be real light on offense. I think, you know, I know they got this supposed to be the air raid offense, but I don't think it's going to come to fruition. Not this season anyway.
Yeah, the problem is they got a whole bunch of receivers, but you know, it's so many question marks with the quarterback and the running back that we don't know what to do right here. The O-line should be a little bit better, so maybe they can create a running game with a decent O-line. Maybe they can hit those wide receivers and make a difference in some spots. But I don't know. This guy, Taven Jackson out of Tennessee, another one of those transfer players that comes from a big school, but really didn't play up to par to be anything where they was. So they just carrying the name somewhere else. So, you know, that's probably not going to work out for them.
Yeah, they want to get some playing time too early on in their career. You know, that's what it's all about too. So
yeah,
like this
there too.
You know, and maybe it's a possibility. Maybe he develops him. Maybe the coach, you know, he develops his kid. Who knows?
Yeah, and the defense over here is that's where a lot of the transfers are coming from. Although they still got Andre Carter, Aaron Casey, and Josh Swingetti. He's pretty good too. But you know, Swingetti I think is a transfer player too, though. But yeah, it's gonna be tough on the defense for him. I don't really have much to say. The seat is hot. It's looking bad. I don't see no plus side to none of this team. And then when you come down to the schedule gets worse. They come with Ohio State as the opener. They have to go play Louisville. They got to see Maryland at home. They got to see Michigan at home, Penn State at home. They see Wisconsin, and they got to play Michigan State at the end of the year. 3-win season tops.
Yeah, I agree. Without a doubt. I mean, this team here last year, how many games did they win? 1 game?
Last year they were I believe they won. What were they? 4-8 last year.
Oh, they won 4. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. 2 in the conference, though. Only 2 in the conference.
Right. Yep, 2 in the conference.
So, man, y'all put on y'all seatbelts because we're going to jump over to the west of the Big Ten. And once again, we're going to start from the top over here in the west. So let's go back to talk to some of the top teams over here in the West.
I see you jumped in your silver Mercedes for the West trip, huh?
Yeah, I had to switch it up a little bit. But Luke Fickell jumps over here from Cincinnati over here in Wisconsin in his first year. And boy, is he dealt a good hand. 10 on offense, 8 on defense, and he's not even impressed. He stacks it more and gets 13 out of the transfer portal. I think that may be something important nowadays in building teams from the, when you first come in. You grab a lot of transfers just in case you had to convert some guys over your system. Even though Luke Fickell, what would I say? His morality and what he stands for is right in line with Wisconsin. His offense is slightly different. His defense is a little more aggressive than Wisconsin usually is. So I think he was a perfect fit over there. As a matter of fact, I'm a little jealous we didn't get him at Notre Dame before we got Marcus. But this is where he landed in the Big Ten. He's already being rated the top team on this side. I mean, he doesn't really have nobody to go against, but Iowa.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this offense he got dealt over here?
Yeah, I love it. I love what he's got to work with. Now, arguably he was the best coach in the state of Ohio, right? But we now know he is the best coach in the state of Wisconsin. But he's in a great situation as far as talent, experience, albeit not his talent. So we know what Wisconsin has done all these years when they recruited these big offensive linemen. So that sets well up for the run. But then he brings in offensive coordinator Phil Longo. And Longo, he was known for working with quarterbacks. He recruited Matt Corral when he was at Ole Miss. He's got a Heisman candidate over there at UNC, North Carolina, Drake May. So, and who does he get his first year as quarterback? He gets Tanner Mordecai from SMU. So bring it on. He's going to have a lot of fun with that kid, trying to run that offense. So, and, they got the O-line and they brought 4 wideouts in the portal with them. So, what's on their mind. It's not going to be your traditional Wisconsin football, but I think it's going to be a blend. It's going to have the best of both worlds. It's going to have the beef up front and he's going to have the speed around them. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Longo and Fickell over there at Wisconsin early with the offense.
Yeah, I think it's one of my more favorable teams this year is Wisconsin. I like the Fickell ad right there. I like them opening up to pass a little more. Super senior Mordecai. Don't forget Mordecai was at Oklahoma, I think.
Oklahoma recruiter, yeah, first 2 years.
Then went to SMU. So he's a quality quarterback. He could be traditionally the quarterback, at Wisconsin doesn't do much more than hand the ball off. But now they got somebody that's going to throw. And a lot of these coaches that come out, especially in the Big 12, I mean, we seen Brent Bielema last year come out or year before last as a new coach. And, you have that whole difference of they're not ready for your schemes. They don't have enough tape. And I think he takes advantage at that point. And I mean, these guys on definitely on their side probably go undefeated because I don't see too many teams on their side that could beat them. Now, when they got to go out of conference and play Ohio State, that could be something different. But looking good on the offensive side. What you think about the defense, Big Ragu?
Yeah. Well, the defense, they bring in Mike Tressel, and they said that he's going to run some of the old Jim Leonard schemes, which was a 3-3-5, which you're well familiar with that from the former defensive coordinator. So they're going to run some blended schemes, and I think that's going to be a wrinkle for them. And then also defensively, I think they've got talent across the board there. I'm not sure about the transfers on defense, but I know I was reading about the schemes from Tressel, and it was pretty impressive what I read. So I think they'll be okay. And they're a typical Big Ten team, on the defense. They're built to stop the run, make adjustments for the plays underneath, and then, they all try to keep, under 300 yards a game, 100 100 yards on the rushing side of things. They just don't want to leave the pass wide open. So, and that's what's changing in the Big Ten, and we're going to start seeing more schemes for passing on offense. So we'll see how these defenses adjust.
Yeah, the only thing that I see could be anything is adjusting the players to the coaches.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Would probably be the only thing, but
how quick do they buy in?
Yeah, other than that, they're stacked with talent and they have the right coaching staff to get the job done. Season wins, let's look at that. Definitely over 8.5. Like I said, I only think even overall, Washington State, Iowa, and Ohio State are probably the only 3 teams that can give them trouble. I think first year out, Pickle beats Iowa for sure. And maybe he doesn't beat Ohio State. And it's a possibility he could lose to Washington State. But after that, I don't see too many teams out there that could give him much trouble.
Yeah, but my only concern is the first year. You know what I mean? Like you said, how quick do these guys get up into the playbook, and how does it transition on the field? We know they got winning coaches, winning coordinators, winning talent. So it's just them, coming together, gelling on the field. So, but they got all the talent in the world to work with, and they got good football minds across the board on this team.
Absolutely. Let's keep it moving, man. We're trying to do this in a nice fashion. Let's skip on to the next team. Kirk Ferentz, 25th year at Iowa, 8-5 last year, 5-4 in the conference. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, great thing he's getting 9 back on offense, 7 on defense, brings in 8 transfer. I mean, the guy has been immaculate on this side of the conference for years, showing up in the conference semifinals over here. It's not much you can say. He hasn't did nothing much. I mean, he's getting a new quarterback on offense. That's just natural. But they haven't did nothing to the offense to show any promise to be in any more than they have been in the past.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Iowa's offense is Kirk's son, Brian. He's the offensive coordinator, and they haven't. They haven't. He's. I'm not gonna say he's a bad guy. They just don't produce the offense. But they haven't had the prolific quarterbacks either. So now they go ahead and they get a Big Ten championship quarterback in Cade McNamara, who got benched after he won the Big Ten title at Michigan. After that happened, so now he's got a little chip on his shoulder. This kid here, so you better believe he wants to go out and show off a little bit for Iowa on the offensive side of things. And I think that could be the spark that this team needed to kind of get them, past the 20 point mark a game, because they don't score a lot of points, but their defense is lit up. But anyways, this is a team that they got all 5 guys on the line returning, right? They got a decent running game, and they did bring another Michigan transfer. I think, I don't know, tight end Eric All. So he has a little bit of experience with McNamara on the offensive side there too. But I think this team maybe improves slightly if the play calling allows it to. I think they have the players up front, and then they always have good tight ends. This school is known for their tight ends too, and they can bring back junior Luke Lachey, who's another quality tight end. So we'll see what they do this year on the offensive side.
Yeah, I don't have much faith in it. It looked like dry sandwich always. But the defense, on the other hand, I don't think they miss a beat this year. They come back. Maybe they're even a little stronger up front than normal. The secondary, number 9 last year, points per game, number 3. There's not much more you can say. It's a systematic defense that's been working well for years. No way am I going to say it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Phil Parker to DC, talent and the experience there for, can Iowa pull off their second West title? I mean, the key game is going to be when it comes down to the end of the season, which you'll pull that back up. when we talk, over and unders for the title, but they got to play Wisconsin the last game of the season, and it might just come down to that for this team.
Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. So they open against Utah State, easy win. Iowa State could be a challenge. Western Michigan should get it home. Penn State definitely could be a challenge. Michigan State, they should get past them. Purdue, Wisconsin would definitely be a challenge. Minnesota, maybe. Northwestern, Rutgers. Illinois could be a challenge this year. And Nebraska could be a challenge as well.
Yeah. I had my schedule screwed up. I guess I had them down for the last game. I don't know why, but that's my bad.
So over under 8 wins. I don't know. This says it's the right schedule, 2023. Yeah, I believe it is, though.
You got the right schedule. Yeah, no, you got it right. You got it right, 100%. Yeah, 8 wins. I mean, I like that. I like it. I like the 8 wins. I like the over here for them. I mean, what they got 8 last year, right? They won 8 games last year. Let's see.
Last year, I believe. Yeah, they won 8 games last year. 8-5.
Yeah, 8-5. Yeah, that's counting their bowl win. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know though. I think the out of conference schedule is kind of tough with Iowa State. I mean, well, not just Iowa State, but the Iowa State game and the Illinois game, and then when they play Nebraska at the end, we'll know what kind of Nebraska team it is. And if they're having a bad season, they might try to end with a bang. It could be risky. I think 8 is probably where they get right back to 8.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably like close to a push. If they get back to 8, then you push. If not, then, depends on what
Penn State, at Penn State, they can forget about it. At Wisconsin, they can forget about it. And I think Illinois beats them too. But we'll get into that in a second.
Yep.
Let's jump on to the next team, which is Illinois. Brent Bielema, 3rd year. This coach, he's a pro style coach. He plays his team with so much poise. He's rooted, defense, running the ball. He's just a traditional guy. I like Brent Bielema. In his 3rd year here, he was 8-5 last year, 5-4 in the conference. He's 13-12 overall here, 8-6 at home, 5-5 away. So he's a little risky on the numbers. But in his 3rd year, he's returning 6 on offense, 6 on defense, 6 transfers. Sounds like a fair deal to me. What you think, Big Ragu?
Yeah. If you're a gambler, you love this guy because he's, like you said, he's 8-5, but some nuggets lie beneath those numbers. In the conference, he's 12-6 ATS. Off a straight off loss, he's 8-3 ATS, and as an away dog, he's 6-2. And it had this first winning season last year in 11 years at 8-5. So, I mean, things are looking good for Illinois. They're a quality program. It's showing. It's paying dividends for them, and his coaching style has kind of helped. Offensively, he's got Barry Looney Jr. running it. He did lose Tommy DeVito, so now he brings in. He went out and got a sophomore transfer quarterback from Ole Miss, Luke Atmeyer. So gets 3 back on the offensive line. He's got to fill the holes at center and left guard. And then he's got offensively, he's got a converted quarterback that's running wide out for him, Isaiah Williams. And I think he keeps the running game intact with, a few underclassmen. I think they're right back where they need to be on offense.
Yeah, I think that I think he's gonna do what he does and find ways to win games. Never count this guy out. Definitely take him with the points. He knows what he's doing. I don't think he quite has. He has Big Ten sized athletes. He's gonna take a couple more years to size up to be able to run with the Ohio States and the Michigans. But he does well right where he's at. I really like this Illinois team this year. On defense, he's bringing back another great group right here going into 22, from 22 going into 23. He's got a new DC over here, Aaron Hendy. Only time will tell exactly how they'll hold up, but the way they Belima manages the game and believes in his defense and stuff like that, they'll have a chance. They'll have a chance because they won't have an irate coach that's forcing them to perform or do things or whatever. They'll just be able to be led by their leader, and he'll get them in situations where they can win games.
Yeah, he's in the perfect conference. He had his stint in Arkansas, and he coached at Wisconsin and went to Arkansas. Now he's back over here in the Big Ten, and traditionally, I say that's perfect conference for him. But what I don't want to see happen to him is the game kind of leapfrog him a little bit as far as because the game changes. But I think he's kind of made the adaptations with what he's had for talent and everything. And like you said, he did promote his secondary coach Aaron Henry to defensive coordinator. He played for him at Wisconsin when he was coach over there, so that's kind of cool how he's got there. But we'll see. I want to see how that quarterback role plays out for him. Like you say, DeVito was a good quarterback for him. I think he's going to fit into that same role with Altmaier here. I don't know how many. I don't know his stats. I didn't pull his stats up, but I read some stuff on him, and he's a sophomore, so he'll have a quarterback of the future if he plays into his scheme of things.
So in 2022, points per game, they were number 2. Against the run, they were number 9, and against the pass, they were number 11. So as long as Aaron Henry's system, if it could elevate them, that'd be great. But if he could just at least play to how they were, that'd be considerable too. Now this might be a future. This might be a future we might want to actually go put in, because they start off with a Toledo team, which they should be. This Kansas team is not going to be the Kansas team we saw earlier last year. That's a possible win. Well, not Penn State. Definitely got an opportunity to beat FAU, Purdue. Depends on how Matt Rule lands. A chance to beat Nebraska, chance to beat Maryland. Depending on how well Fickle works out, if they see Fickle and he's stumbling at that far in the season, they might get a win there. Then they got Minnesota, Indiana, 2 more winnable games. And like I said, the key is going to be beating Iowa. They're going to get this big win November 18th. They're going to beat Iowa at Iowa, and then they're going to take that energy and go past Northwestern. So over 6.5 for me for sure.
Yeah, I don't hate that look at all. I think they get back to eight games again.
Yeah, eight sounds just about right.
They get a middle bowl game, and they get back to 8 games, eight wins. If they get 9, then they'll play deeper into the postseason, in a better bowl. But I think they'll get that bowl game, probably match up against an SEC team possibly.
Yeah, this is probably one of the best futures I've seen since I've been capping out these teams so far. But we still got more conferences and teams to go through, so I'm a hold it before I make that a final decision. But
yeah,
I really like that one right there. It's a big possibility. But let's keep the train moving. We're 1 hour in. We're gonna try to get out of here within the next 20 minutes or so. Let's keep it going. PJ Fleck, 7th year at Minnesota, 9-4 last year, 6-3 in the conference. He had a good outing last year. Overall, he's a decent coach too. 44-27, 25-13 at home, 15-14. He's slightly over 500 away. That says a lot about a coach. He's returning 7 on offense, 6 on defense, and he brings in 10 from the transfer portal. Only bad thing I've heard about this guy is that he does some contemporary things, kind of like Mike Leach used to do, and coaches a little out the box sometimes. So he has some kind of merit system over there where the players get merits for telling on each other and all that kind of stuff. But it has to do a lot with being accountable. Yeah. And it is actually in the real world it's snitching, but in the rules of the game and being a teammate and all that, it's all about getting players to be accountable for their action, because the game is like a chain link fence. All 11 got to be doing their job for everybody to succeed. So I don't know. It's a mixed emotion about that, but let's jump into the offense right here. What you think about this offense over here for this year?
I know they're missing a big piece, Mohammed Ibrahim. I mean, that was his guy, and I know he's a run heavy coach. So I think he got a transfer. Where did he get the transfer from? Let's see, Sean
I think it's
Tyler,
from Texas A&M, no, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Yeah, well, he got Sean Tyler. I think he was from Western Michigan. Yeah, Western Michigan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
that's the
God.
guy. That's because I know that's where he's from. That's his. He's a Mac guy. So he recruits that area wholeheartedly, and he can recognize talent and he can build his team for the runs. For the run game, which he will do here, and I think they'll be on par. I think they're a little behind. They were without Abraham. I think they'll pick up the pieces, but they're a lot of like a middle team. I mean, you look at the passing numbers right there, ranked 119 overall, rushing 19, and that's got a lot to do with Abraham. So points per game right there. Bottom at the top 2/3, lower 1/3, or higher 1/3, however you want to break it down. So they got to re-identify themselves. We know what they're going to try. They're going to try to run first, where they have the talent to push forward. When replacing a guy like Abraham's a big ass, but he even when he was hurt, they were still successful running the football. That's what they do. That's his brand of football, PJ Flex. So I think
Yeah.
they're going to run
I
first.
think they have the talent to do it on offense, but it's just going to be how well the offensive line, how good they play in the trenches, probably be the telltale signs of this team. Now, over on the defensive side of things, they did really well last year on the defensive side, and this year they bring back some leadership, kind of spread out in some places. They bring in some new faces and a bunch of transfers, and I think it's a mix that probably could be tasty. It's like Neapolitan ice cream. Not everybody likes it, but this little mix that they got going might be kind of tasty.
Yeah. The defense they'll be there too. I think they're what did they say? They ranked fourth nationally in scoring defense, 13.8, and ninth in yards, 295. So underrated defense for sure. You don't hear people talk about Minnesota's defense a lot. So definitely an underrated defense, and I think they kind of keep things intact. If you look at the numbers up on your screen, number 3, number 18, number 14, solid numbers. Like PJ Flex wants you to make you row his boat, baby. Row his boat.
And here goes another team right here. Might want to get to the window on this one. Between Illinois and this one, I think we might get to the window. I mean, the over-under is 7. Now, I have a possible 5-0. If Matt Rule doesn't hit the ground running and they play Nebraska, that's a win. Eastern Michigan, that's a win. North Carolina, it's at North Carolina. You're going to have to play hard. But that could be a win. And then Northwestern could also be a win. Louisiana could be a win. And then they see Michigan. So if they're as tough as they propose to be on paper, then we might get a 5-0 there and only need 2 more wins to cover the 7. What you think about the season wins for this team?
Yeah, I see 4-1, 5-0 possibly. That might be a tough ask at Carolina, but who knows? I mean, like I said, their defenses travel well, and they're going to be on the road for that one. So, and then you got some changes over there at North Carolina too on the offensive side of things. So maybe that's a good matchup for them. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate that 7. 7. If it's not juiced too high, you might get a little bit, maybe a little plus money with that number too. So definitely be interested on a plus money scenario.
I just definitely wouldn't take it with the hook. I think it could fall on 7 easily, but
yeah.
If they put a hook on it, it might turn me away. But let's jump on into the next team. Keep it rolling. We're on good time. David Braun. So it wasn't much that I'm pretty sure everybody's up to date with all the drama that happened over here at Northwestern. So it's not much that we can really say about North Richards. They did promote the interim coach to head coach. They were 1-11 last season, 1-8 in the conference, getting back 4, 8 on defense, 6 transfer, but just a whole bunch of mess over there. So I didn't even go too far into capping this because it's just too much drama pieces to pick up to find any jewels underneath.
Yeah. My main concern for the offense, I know they got Mike Bajakian, I think his name was. He was brought in initially. I don't know if he's still the OC or not. I've got to go back through and look. But if he's still there, I mean, this team struggled mightily last year on offense. I think their whole season came off rails when they went over and played in Ireland when they played Illinois that game. Because that was like ever since that game, I mean, they had high hopes for this team and they just kind of went off the rails and never recovered from that trip. Seems like just everything went sideways for them. But anyways, if Bajakins is the OC here, they brought him on board because this guy averaged like 31 points a game, 400 yards. He was a BC guy, coached in the NFL, worked with Jameis Winston with Tampa as a quarterbacks coach. Anyways, he had all this uber talent that he was going to try to develop, and last year, it came off the rails for him totally. So I was kind of hoping they hit the reset button for the squad this year and see what they get. Overall, offensively speaking, they had. I don't think they had the overall talent because this team ranked 128th, right, or 129th points per game, right, and scored right under like a little over 13 points. And they were dead last in turnovers, like 31. So they turned the ball over, and not a lot of things went right on offense for this team last year. So I don't know how they right the ship this year. I really don't.
Yeah, we'll just take a breeze look at them because, like you said, there's not much we can say about these guys. I don't know, how they're going to repair from all the drama that's going on. And technically, I don't want to be involved. So let's jump on into this next team. I think I picked the wrong thing, but next team right here. Oh, I cut you off right there. Sorry about that, Big Red.
He was the ex-defensive coordinator, the new head coach.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He got promoted up to interim, and now he's the head coach. But yeah, I hope it works well for him. I mean, nothing worse than ruining those kids' careers, with so much talent and all that stuff. So let's keep the drama to a minimum, unless it's drama that we can cash on. But right here, Matt Rule back to the NCAA football. I don't think he had a great run in the pros, and I think college is where this guy belongs. And he's over here at Nebraska. Nebraska, one of those places, is going to be known forever as a great place to play football. And they've just been struggling year after year trying to get this thing back on its feet. So they go in for the coach as this conference is going to be a money conference moving forward with the new people that's coming in and all that stuff. So great pickup for Nebraska to try to change things. But I don't quite think he can change it overnight. He's coming off of a rough NFL trip, and he's done this before with teams before, like Baylor and worse. So I think he has the potential to get it done, but I don't think this year is the year. But he may be able to upset some people. What you think about Matt Rule in this spot?
You gotta love Rule. You gotta love what he's done in the past. Like I say, his track record speaks for him. His reputation precedes him on these types of scenarios. I mean, you bring in. They made a big mistake with Frost, I think. When they took him from UCF, and that didn't pan out for him. I mean, this team here, I think 6 seasons. He had 6 losing seasons in Nebraska. He had 3 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins, 3 wins, 2 wins his last 5 seasons. That's how many wins they had. But as far as Rule goes, how quick is he going to be able to make things work and come together? I mean, he gets a returning quarterback, Casey Thompson, and then he gets a transfer from Georgia Tech, Jeff Sims. So he'll have a couple quarterbacks to work with. So he's going to be, in the midst of figuring things out. And, we'll see how they develop offensively. It's like you said, it's going to be a work in progress for sure.
Yeah, like I said, first year here, work is cut out for him. It's not much you can really speculate about a guy coming in to a bunch of kids that he have no clue about. I mean, I'm glad he's upgrading conferences, but he's got his work cut out for him. But he does bring in new OC Marcus Satterfield, and then from South Carolina, and then he also has on the defensive side Tony White from Syracuse. So he brings in a good staff. I'm pretty sure Nebraska's kicked open the bank and let some money rain on them. So everything, the motivation, everything is there. It's just about putting it together on the field.
Yeah, a lot of tradition in Nebraska football too. You want to see
as the defense. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Go ahead, buddy.
Now let's go ahead and jump to the win total on Nebraska. Of course, is set low, but it's kind of set high for a first-year guy right here. Minnesota, Colorado, Northern Illinois, they should beat them. Louisiana Tech, they got a big chance. Michigan, forget about it. Illinois can be rough. Northwestern, you might have another one. Purdue, maybe another one. Not quite Michigan State, maybe not quite 6. I guess if I had to take it, I had to take under 6 for his first year out.
I would say so. If he doesn't split the first, he can't split the first 5 games. Well, Minnesota is going to be a tough ask. You know what I mean? Colorado, that's going to be interesting with Neon Dion, Coach Prime. I'm going to watch that game.
Yeah.
2 first-year guys.
Game number 2, too. Yeah. That's going to be at Colorado. That's going to be wild.
Yeah. That'd be a good one to watch. That's an old school game there.
That's good. You know what? That's going to be both of them first true tests.
Yeah. Without a doubt. There'll be a lot of storylines on that game. Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech, those should be winnable games, just because of class. But who knows? Some of those MAC teams early on, they're in upset mode. So be careful there. I like the under here, to be honest with you. I like the under.
Yeah, I like the under in that one too. Let's jump on over to the last team. Keep this under time restraint. Ryan Waters, first year. This is another first-year coach over here in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Purdue was 8-6 last season, 3-6 in the conference. They returned in 6, 5 on defense, 11 transfers. New OC is Graham Harrell from Western Virginia. DC is Kevin Kane. Although Walter's going to be making the play calls, good little bunch that they put together again. Somebody must have rolled out a little cash to get some nice coaches in here to try to compete in this conference again. What you think Purdue's chances of bouncing back here is?
Slim to none early on, but they, like you said, they opened up their checkbook and they brought some decent coordinators with them, obviously. And that's the thing in college football nowadays. It's not all about getting a big head coach in there. It is, but it's also sprinkling some money. And who started that trend many years ago was our boy at Clemson. You give him credit for doing that. Yeah, Dabo started that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, they get some decent they get some decent coordinators here. Offensively, the OC was averaging 30 points a game. On average, about 230 yards passing, 170 rushing. That's a good balanced attack right there. So, and then I think whether it comes to fruition, that's going to be another thing early on. But I don't know the talent level that they have if it's going to amount to a hill of beans for them. But I'll be interested to see what their win total is, whether it might be fade material or not.
Yeah, well, they're looking good, in the running area with Maccabee. They get Hudson Card over from Texas. He could be a breakout star. Who knows? But they have some decently equipped players coming over, but they do lack depth in all of the units on the offensive side of the thing. And on the defensive side, it's basically the same thing. even though they do do well a little bit in the secondary, but up front they need a little help up in there. But this year, I don't see them making much progress in the first year. Maybe more experimental, bringing all these different moving parts together with this team. So I'm kind of leaning.
Those numbers are not horrific. I mean, number 84 points per game. That's not great, but I mean to Big Ten standards, anyways. But if you look at the rushing and passing numbers are not horrible. It's just that it probably equates to a lot of big plays. Lack of pressure up front. Like tackling. Probably real basic football stuff that they haven't been good at for a little bit. So I mean, they needed to change. I know Purdue's been on the downswing for a bit. So I got a buddy of mine lives in Indiana, and he cries to me every week about Purdue.
And then he will be able to benefit on being a new coaching and stuff in the conference. He might be able to catch some teams off guard, maybe some first half, or second half comebacks or something like that. But it's going to be wild for him. Let's take a look at the schedule, Big Ragu. Opening up against Fresno State, then Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Ohio State. That's tough right there. Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and Ohio State all in a row. Then at Nebraska, Michigan. They didn't pick the good first year to be with schedule-wise.
Yeah, that's
I'm
tough.
going to have to go under 5.
Well, Northwestern's a winnable game for them. I don't know about the Fresno. You'd probably know more about Fresno, where they're at.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, Fresno is going to be tough, right? Syracuse is I mean, that's an out-of-conference game, but that's no pushover there. So, yeah, I mean, maybe Nebraska, that's first-year coach there too, but all things being even, I'd probably lean that way, talent-wise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would, you know what? I don't hate this under here. I really don't. 5
is probably the best they could do.
Yeah. That's the very best they could do. They probably get away with 3 or 4, I would say. If they got 4, I would say that'd be a good season for them early on.
Absolutely. Well, we did it, Big Ragu. We got through another preview of another conference for the 2023. Thanks to all those that stopped by and said what up, and we'll definitely be cutting this up and sending it back out so you guys can break it down a little further. And at least this kind of information you lose for the first 3 to 4 games of the season because the numbers ain't going to do you no good. So you gotta go back through these videos, catch us in our high points, and evaluate it yourself. Either fade us, whatever you have to do, but get to the window and make some money. Any words you got for the people, Big Ragu?
No, man, just like you said, we just do our little reads and on the articles we're checking out and the recruiting and all with the transfers and the coaching changes. It's early on, it's just all speculation, and once they get past the first 3, 4, once you start getting the conference play, then things start to change up a lot. But on the first get, this is the way to go, man. Take these little tidbits we give you and do a little bit of homework on your own. And then, you like anything else, use your own AI, artificial intelligence that you have.
There you go. AI ain't caught up with sports yet. I think we got to give AI about 3 or 4 more years.
This
they
is
give
what
a
I
lot
think
of
about
inaccurate
AI.
information. I heard that. But we're going to get out of here, man. Thank everybody for joining us, man. Y'all have a great evening. And make sure you like, subscribe, and leave us comments, man. The comments, I'm going to truly tell you from the bottom of my heart, the comments, the emails, the DMs that we get on Twitter and stuff that me and Big Ragu has got throughout the year, that's what keep us here. We don't receive a lot of hate mail because we're fair guys, but the few of you out there that know who you are, that actually showed up in the DMs and the comments and saying we appreciate y'all and I made money off your bets, or even if you disagree with something or got a question about something, we're always welcome to it. So hang in there with us. Make sure you subscribe to Who-Bangin, get the notified so you get all this good content coming out, and we out of here.